Welcome back, friends. It's Pamela La La, and if you are a fan of the pain, the darkness, the misfortunate, the forgotten, the desperate, and the absolute forgettable people about the world, then you are in the right place. Welcome to my story time. I am Pamela La La, and this is a story all about trauma patient, the Black Plague. This is a deep, dark dive into the world of an incestuous family. This is a deep dive into my life. So you're going to sit and listen while I speak. Why? Because I need a friend and I need someone to talk to. And I have no one to talk to about this subject because no one wants to listen. So you'll listen and you'll hear me. This is a story time. There are multiple episodes. So if you're on this video and you haven't watched the first video, then you might want to catch up. Otherwise, we're just going to keep going and you'll have no understanding as to what I'm talking about. But this is a deep, dark topic, and I know that this can be traumatic because this is a very traumatic subject. Although this is a subject that has to be heard and has to be spoken about, we can't keep sweeping it in the closet. We can't keep pretending that it's not there. We can't keep not wanting to hear it. We can't keep pretending that it's not happening. We can't keep closing our ears because it is happening to millions and millions of little boys and girls all around the world that grow up to be balls to the walls, batshit crazy, just like me. And yes, that is my accurate description. I can say that about myself because I know that that's the truth about myself. And it is that way, and I am that way because life has dealt me a really bad deck, but I am trying my best to crawl out of it. A lot of people thought that I would grow up with 9 kids in the projects and a wasteful life. Well, I showed them all I would be none of those things. But even though I have crawled my way to a better existence, it doesn't negate the nightmares. It doesn't negate the depression. It doesn't negate the fear. It doesn't negate any of those times when I just sit alone and cry. Because not everything can be solved on a therapist's couch. And yes, I've gone to therapy and no, it has not helped. And I meant to multiple therapists, multiple therapists, and no, there was no help for what's going on within me because, even though you can talk to a therapist, they don't really have solutions for situations like this. They just say the nicest thing that they can possibly say, and then they move on. I'll see you next week. And then they may give you some pills. And you know what? Pills don't take away the nightmares. It doesn't take away the pain. It doesn't take away the trauma. It doesn't take away the daily feeling of loneliness, isolation, panic, depression, just feeling like a wasted individual. No, therapy has not helped with any of that. So, this is going to be my story, and you're going to listen to it because you're a good person. And you're a good person, and you want to help others. And so, you want to help me because why not? Why wouldn't you want to help me? I'm asking you for your help. All you got to do is listen and then subscribe so you can keep coming back. I'm not asking you for money. Come on now. I'm not asking you for rent. So come on. Hit the subscribe button and chillax and chillax. Okay, that's what you can do. Chillax and chillax. All right. So, but there is if you're on this second video, you should probably go to video number one, and then you have a better understanding of where we're at the story. Because I can't keep repeating the same story over and over. I have a whole lot of parts to this story, and we're not going to get it done in 5, 10, 20, or 60. Probably not even 130, and that is no exaggeration. We are starting at childhood, and we are going all the way up. So, where we were in the last, where did I leave off? Round two, Barbara. That darn Barbara called my mama's house and got my daddy sliced up with a box cutter. So yes, she did, and Barbara knew exactly what she was doing. You know what? These see when you go around, when you start having, and this it's my daddy's fault too, because he was the one running around. But yeah, when you start having these relationships, They affect more than just you. When you think that you're getting even with the other person because of whatever they're sneaking around and doing. And so you start doing your little sneaky sneak on the side too. If you have children, it does affect them. It affected me in a very, very serious way. My sister as well. Now, that being said, so yeah, my dad is all sliced up. They went off to the hospital. Me and my sister were left there to clean the house up. And this was so disturbing. I mean, so disturbing. I can't. And then no one ever spoke to us about it. And I think parents, think that, oh, well, they're too young to understand, so I'll say nothing. Saying nothing to your children is like, it's the worst thing that you can possibly do. And I don't say that, like, I have three children, okay? Saying nothing is just the worst thing because they have feelings too. You're going through something terrible at home. When you break up with your honey and, you have children, they broke up too. If they like that person or love that person and then that person leaves, that's a traumatic breakup for them too. It really is. It harms them too. They're sad. They miss them. They wish they were there. Children have feelings and emotions. And, that is when I raised my children, I raised them with my past at the forefront of my mind because I know how I felt when my parents did these certain things. So I did not want to repeat them to my children. Okay, and I'm not the perfect parent either. I have not been the perfect parent because I'm not a perfect person. I made all the same mistakes that most parents make. But in that regard, that is not a mistake that I made because I know how that felt for me. I know a lot of adults see we're adults much longer than we are children. So we forget what it's like to be a kid. And so we just start parenting, forgetting our complete childhood. Like, how did you feel when you were 3? How did you feel when you were 4? How did you feel when you were 8? We forget those things and just go right into being an adult and then forgetting that our children are little emotional sponges that we ought to take careful consideration as to what they see, hear, and experience. And a lot of us forget that, and it's normal. I get it because we have to adult. So we spend so much time being adult. We don't have a lot of time to go back to our childhood, our teenage. We don't have time to go back to those things, and so we just skip it. But we really need to keep it at the forefront. So my parents never discussed anything. Like my dad was all sliced up, and it just we went on with life as if, yeah, well, it's just it's all done now. And so my sister and I are sitting there all alone, trying to figure things out, and just left with silence. And I didn't know if my dad was ever going to come back home again. I did because they were so hot and cold. They always, they're on one minute and then off the next minute. So I didn't know if they were going to come back and, be a family again. And it was just wrong, absolutely wrong. Well, he was gone for a time. He left, and I mean, for obvious reasons, he just got sliced up. He left, and that was that. We just went on and dealt. My mother never had a conversation with me about it. She never talked to me. Asked me if I missed my father. And by the way, my sister and I had different fathers. My sister was from my mother's first marriage. My father is my mother's second marriage. And so, just left to deal with that. And of course, my sister knew exactly what I was going through because she had been without her father too, you know? And it was painful for the both of us. And, she had obviously gotten used to my dad being there as the dad in the house. And obviously, she missed having her dad. I never knew her dad. Her dad never came around. Never came around. Never, never, never. I saw him one time, and I do mean one time, and that's just a fact. I never came around. I saw her dad once in my entire existence of living, once. So that was that. And that's her story to tell. But yeah, so she obviously knew what I was going through. She was always there to try to comfort me. My mother never offered me comfort or anything to that effect. It was never a conversation about anything that was happening. How did I feel? What did I need? Am I okay? None of that. So at some point, my dad comes back, and then we're a happy family again, and I'm still four. And some of the happiest times that I remember, my dad used to work for Hostess Wonder Bread. I believe the company is called Wonder Bread, and they, create Hostess, the Twinkie company. Oh my God. My daddy worked at the Twinkie Corporation. He worked for the Twinkie people. Oh my, not your daddy. Mm-mm. My daddy worked for Twinkies, baby. Oh, cannot imagine. Heaven every day. So of course he always brought home Twinkies. I had Twinkies, 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 and more Twinkies. You cannot imagine. Ding dongs were not my thing. No, I would have snowballs on occasionally, but the Twinkies in that chocolate cupcake. So my mom and daddy would work. I wasn't in Head Start yet. So they had found me a babysitter. And she was a really nice woman. It was an interracial couple. And so her husband, I don't know if he even worked. I just remember this man sitting in a recliner all day long. So I don't think he worked at all. And at this time, back in the day, there was no work from home situation. And no, I never saw this man go to work. But anyway, she had a little in home daycare in her house. She was a white lady, a little in home daycare in her house. And so, black parents back in the day, honey, they send you to somebody's house. They're not going to send you, starving or with a little bit of food. My mother packed like I was moving in. So she would always send 2 boxes of cereal. Uh, my favorite cereal at that time was Fruit. Oh, back in the day. Toucan Sam was just my best friend. I just Toucan Sam, that little bird. Let me tell you, me and him had some of the best days ever. And then cornflakes. Wait, no, Frosted Flakes. So it was Fruit Loops and Frosted Flakes. That was my jam. And my daddy always made sure I had it. Always, 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 always. He would get off work, go to the store, and come home with a box of Fruit Loops. Never failed. I always had Fruit Loops. I was never without Toucan Sam. It was magical. And then of course Twinkies. No, 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 no. The house was full. Boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes of Twinkies, y'all. I had them. They were so great. And so I met the babysitter, and she would always pack those 2 boxes of cereal. I would always have 2 boxes of cereal, and then she would fix maybe like a little sandwich, like tuna sandwich. Or maybe a meatloaf sandwich. Back in the day, your parents would send you to, somebody's house with a whole meal, Sunday dinner right here for lunch. And so she would send 2 boxes of cereal, a sandwich of some sort, a couple cans of like tuna fish or whatever, and then she would, or maybe she'd made up the tuna, and she would always send a couple of those tall cans. I don't think they make them now because I don't uh, buy canned food. Y'all know I cook, so I make everything homemade. But it would be these really tall cans of like SpaghettiOs and Chef Boyardee ravioli, which was a special treat because she only bought that for my lunch at the babysitter. She would never buy that for home because at home she didn't make prepared food. At home she got down in the kitchen and cooked from scratch. My mother was a country girl. Her mother had 11 kids, East Texas, countrified. Okay, so she didn't make things out of boxes. No hamburger helpers or anything like that. But for my lunch, she would pack the ravioli, the spaghettios, the 2 boxes of cereal, a sandwich of whatever for that day. She would fix up a little mix of tuna fish so the lady could, serve that, and would have chips, and she would always send extra so that I would have enough for throughout the entire day. But she would also send along my Twinkies. I would always have boxes and boxes of Twinkies and those chocolate cupcakes that I like, because I was there for the whole week. So she would just pack up a whole lot and she would just send it so that it would be there for the whole week. And then she would always include, of course, a gallon of milk, chips or whatever. And then of course my father, he worked for Wonder Bread, so obviously bread. So she would send groceries to her house at the beginning of the week when they would drop me off. That she would have all these groceries that she would send, and it would just be there for the week. And then daily she would fix a daily sandwich, a daily this, a daily that, you know, just to make up for if the woman didn't feel like heating up a can or something like that. So, and we would eat breakfast, or at least I would eat breakfast there. But there was other kids that eat breakfast there too. So I would eat breakfast there, and of course she would have all of my stuff. So there was this little boy, and I could not stand this boy. I was four, and listen, y'all, I'm four. So when you leave comments, stop judging a 4 year old. Okay, yes, I was selfish. I was four. Okay, I was 4 years old. There was this little boy, and this little boy, he his his nose was always full of snot, and it was green snot. Oh my gosh, it was full of snot, y'all. Oh my gosh, and his hands were always sticky looking. They just looked sticky all the time, and even to this day, that little boy, I didn't like him because he just looked snotty and sticky all the time. And I didn't understand why he looked like that. It was as if, and I was four, so I didn't think that, oh, his parents haven't cleaned him up. His parents haven't washed his hands. His parent doesn't clean his nose properly. No, I'm four, so I'm blaming him for all of it. It's all his fault. He has the snottiest nose that I've ever seen, and it's the stickiest fingers that I've ever seen. And I never wanted to sit next to him, and but her table only sat four, so I had to sit next to him, and so I sat at the seat that faced her kitchen sink. Okay, kitchen sink. Okay, kitchen sink here, table there, and my seat right there, and boy right here. Ugh. So she would always sit that little boy right there next to me. Oh my god! And y'all, even to this day, as a grown woman, full fledged grown adult, when I see a child with a snotty nose, I instantly flash right back to that little boy when I was four. And it's when I look at even to this kid today, before I think of adult brain, hello, his parents should clean them up. What is his mom or dad or grandparent or carer doing? Why aren't they taking care of this? Like, what the heck are they doing? Are they that busy? You're not that busy shopping. You don't notice this. Before I instantly snap to adult brain, I think, oh my God, it's like that child right here in real life, adult me, that child right here in real life has come to punish me and remind me of that boy back when I was 4 years old. I see that kid right now today, and it's like, ew. And then it's his parent, and I come back to reality, but oh, that little boy, that in his nose, it was green snot, y'all. It was green, and it would be hanging out of his nose. Oh, Oh my God, they used to just bother me. And so she would sit me next to this little boy every day for breakfast. And then he would have time. His parents half sent breakfast. They didn't. I don't know what. They just half sent this and half sent that. It just. So it's time to eat cereal. And so she would get all the things out. And of course, my mom would send my own bowl. So you know how black parents are, honey. We send everything. Send my own bowl and spoon. So I had my own little bowl and spoon. And I noticed. Now I noticed when I kind of first started, like he would have his, every kid had their stuff. Every kid had everything, and I had my stuff. But I I don't in retrospect it might have been like when school started. Now we're all going there because I know my sister was in school. And so maybe all these other kids kind of came at the same time, but maybe as a 4 year old, I didn't really recognize that because I know in the beginning, most of the kids would always have like we each had our own things, and the babysitter she served each of us our own things. But then after a while, kids just stopped having things because all of a sudden I noticed that she started sharing my cereal. And she shared my cereal with that little snot nosed boy. When I saw her do that, I was mad. I remember just looking up at her, and I saw her doing that, and she saw me seeing her doing that, and she would just kind of smile, and that's what she would say. She saw me watching her. Pamela, what cereal do you want today? Do you want to pick the cereal? Why am I picking? It's my cereal. Like I pick, yeah, Fruit Loops or Frosted Flakes, what my mama said, and my daddy. And so I would pick cereal, obviously, because my cereal. And so when she would start pouring the cereal, I noticed she was going from bowl to bowl to bowl to bowl with my box of cereal. So mad. And she got my milk and she shared my milk oh, I was so mad. Oh, I was so mad. I was so mad. I didn't say anything because your parents teach you don't talk back to adults and things like that. So I didn't say anything, but I was mad. And she made me sit next to that little boy, and then she shared my cereal with that little boy, and I was upset about it. But anyway, just kept on going. And so lunchtime would roll around, and the same thing. To my surprise, I was quite horrified when she got asked me which that I want, spaghettios or ravioli, and I would pick. And when she heated it up and we're all sitting around the table waiting to eat, and everybody's happy waiting too, and she served my spaghettios. And see, the thing, my mother, she always sent a lot. Okay, there was always more than enough. So she would just keep sending cans and cans and cans and cans. She didn't ever say, "Oh, is she out of this and she's out of that, or does she need this or does she need that?" No, my mother would just pack it up and send it. So this woman had like a grocery, cabinet of my things that were accumulating, right? Because she never told my mom that, oh, she's got enough, don't send more. Because I know my mother would send the same thing every week, and she would be sharing it. She shared my spaghettios, and those were special because I didn't get spaghettios at home. I only got spaghettios when I was here. So should not have been sharing my spaghettios. That was a big treat. It's not no little boy. And all the other kids too. There was one kid. Her parents never sent her anything. She was a little white girl. Her parents never sent her anything. Anything. And before y'all start thinking about black versus white, don't come to me with that nonsense, honey. I'm in an interracial marriage. I'm a cheering biracial, so I don't want to hear that nonsense. Just telling you for framework, okay? So don't start coming at me in the comments about black versus white, and I didn't want to share with the white or the black or the none of that. No, 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 no. Let that go. So, this one little girl, her name was Teresa, and she I think she would have had cute brown hair. I think it was brown. We'll get to I think. I think it was brown hair, but she had what I thought would have been cute, uh, curly, really curly wavy, not spiral curly, but a cute little wave of hair. But her parents never sent her much of anything ever because the babysitter was very consistently sharing my things with her. She got to the point where she was sharing it with just near everybody, but from jump she was always sharing it with that little girl. And I'll get that in a second, but she was always sharing it with that particular little girl. So lunchtime would be lunchtime, and then she would serve snack. And of course I picked snack. It's Twinkie today, it's cupcake this day, it's Snowball that day. It was always my pick, and it got to be to a point where that became a regular thing. I picked breakfast, I picked lunch, and I picked snack. And so during nap time she would I guess she had all the parents bring stuff for a pallet, and like she may have told me my parents do the same thing too. I would imagine she did. But she would put the kids on the floor to sleep for a nap and to watch Sesame Street or Mr. Rogers or whatever other kind of cartoon or something. But for me in particular, she put me on her couch. So, and her couch directly faced the TV. Okay. So she put me to nap on her couch. And I was the only child that napped on her couch. So I napped on her couch, and the other kids were sprawled out on the floor. And she would ask, what do you want to watch? Oh, Sesame Street or Mr. Rogers or whatever cartoon, as a child, you remember all the cartoons. I can't think of them now. Obviously Bugs Bunny and all of that kind of stuff, but it would be cartoons and that. But she really did try to do a good job of, Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, some kind of educational thing. She remember she did that every day. But this little girl, that little girl named Teresa, this was the saddest child at my little 4-year-old self had ever seen in my life. The saddest little child. And the babysitter had this high chair, and she would sit Teresa in that high chair. Maybe the girl was 3. Maybe that's why she was in a high chair. But she could speak very well, so I don't know. But she had her in this high chair, and that girl was sitting in this little high chair and sing this song. What was it came to be a song for just what seemed like hours. Poor me, poor me, poor me, poor me. And then she would lay her head down, and then she bounced right back up. Poor me, poor me. And at that time when I was 4, I understood what she was saying. That her life was so terrible. It's not at all funny because believe me, I was not laughing. But her life was so terrible, apparently, that she would just sing this litany, and she would do it all day long. And why I say I think she had brown hair, because she was never clean. Now, have you seen a person that's, when, like maybe you're out and whatever, and you kind of get dirty or something, maybe in the yard, I don't know, you get a little dirty, whatever, and then you try to wipe down a little bit, you just kind of wipe the dirt off of you, and so you can see that there's a little bit of some dirt there, yeah, and you can kind of tell that someone maybe took a cloth and tried to wipe up a little bit, and so you're not as dirty, but you're dirty. Have you understand what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So that's how she always looked. And she would always wear this same little dress. It looked like the dress was probably once white, but it was this dingy little dress with these yellowish kind of flowers. I think it may have been yellow flowers on it. But and she would never play. Like we would try to play with her, and I would try to play with her, but she would never really play. She just seemed to be the most solemn child that I had ever seen. And that has stuck with me my entire life, looking seeing her that way. Because I that is when I learned, like, I knew things weren't great at my house. I knew things weren't great at my house. But that is when I learned that some parents just don't care. Because why would she sing that terrible song all day? Poor me, poor me. She would sing that. And I just remember being so sad for her. So, of course, when it came down to Twinkie time, I would want to share my Twinkies with her. I would want to share. So, I remember, maybe after the first day of the poor me, I know directly thereafter, I always wanted to share whatever I had with her. But no matter how much I tried to befriend this little girl, she would never truly be friendly. When it was playtime, she didn't really play. Now, the lady did not have an in-house daycare like we would imagine today to be an in-house daycare. No. Obviously, when we had to go to the bathroom, she had a bathroom for us. But her house was small. Her house was a small house. It was a little wood frame house, a small house. So we were pretty much in the living room. We stayed in the living room. We didn't go to other parts of her home ever. I couldn't even tell you what other parts of her home looked like. Obviously, there was a bathroom, and I remember her bathroom. It was a small little bathroom. It was clean. It was always clean. A small little bathroom. But for the most part, we were in her living room area, and then when it was good weather, we could go outside and play in the front or the backyard, but she mainly kept us in the backyard. Sometimes we would go up front and play, but that wasn't very often at all. It was mainly in her backyard. And like I said, her husband didn't work, so he was always in the front room and he would always sit in that recliner. He didn't like go to the bedroom or any other part of the home. He would sit in this little recliner all day and read books, the newspaper. He read the newspaper from cover to cover, it seemed like, and then books. And he did not monopolize the TV away from the kids. He did not do that at all. I'm not. He was not a mean man of any sort. He seemed to be an okay man. I mean, you know, I don't really remember interacting with him a whole lot. So I can't really share much memories about him other than him being in that chair. But um, it was just an interesting thing to notice back then, and at that time being four and seeing that sad little girl. I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, I hope my life is never like that. I hope I'm never that sad. I remember really just thinking, oh my gosh, I just hope I am never that sad. Because what must her life be like at home to make her sit and sing that sad song all day? And so I remember that one day I thought, oh my God, it's happening to me. It had gotten late. And I was not the first child to go, but I was maybe the second or third child to go. But this one, and it was always before dark, always before dark. And so one day it's getting dark and every kid is leaving. One by one, they're leaving. And I'm still there. Even the little girl with the Poor Me song is gone, and I'm still there. Oh my gosh. When that little girl left and I was still there, I was just in tears. I was crying. Oh my gosh, I was crying. Oh my God, I can remember now. Oh my God, I'm about to cry. Oh my gosh, I was crying because I thought that it was happening to me now. I'm being forgotten. My parents have forgotten about me, and I'm going to start saying, poor me, poor me. And the thought of that just made me cry. And I tell you, I was not a child that cried. I did not cry. Just like, just oh, somebody hurt my little feelings and I burst into tears crying. No, I was a tough, rough. And as we go along, you know why I was rough and tough. No crying. But when my parents weren't there and everyone else was picked up and I'm still there, I just thought that my life is going to be just like hers. I'm going to come here tomorrow and or maybe never, and I'll be somewhere saying poor me. I believe that with everything in my little 4-year-old body, that I had been forgotten and my parents didn't care, just like Teresa's parents didn't care, and I was unconsolable. Oh, and I remember her. That lady was trying everything. She was trying everything to get me to calm down and be okay. She was trying. She was trying to find every TV show she wanted to try to play. She offered me more snacks. I remember her reassuring me that my parents had not forgotten me. She was trying everything she could. And for the first time, her husband, who never says anything, sits in that chair with that newspaper. He started to try to cheer me up. He was trying so hard. It was right along with his wife, assuring me that my parents are coming. He was trying to talk to me and entertain me and let me know that my parents had not forgotten me, that they were coming, that probably they had to work late or something must have happened, but they would be coming to get me. But I did not understand it at all. I was going to end up in that high chair and I was going to be singing that song because my parents didn't love me. Because see, I had learned from that little girl that parents cannot care about their children. I did not know that before. I did not know that before, but I knew it right then and there when I saw that little girl sitting in that high chair screaming that song all day long. And I was just a complete wreck. And then my parents showed up. I bolted out that door and jumped to my daddy's arms. Let me tell you, I did, because when I guess she heard the car pull up, I'm over there crying, probably singing "Poor Me." But I remember she opened that door so that smile, baby. She had a smile a mile wide. That baby said I had a smile a mile wide. She did. When she opened that door, I could see it. I see it in my mind right now. She opened that door with the biggest grin on her face. Get this kid out of my house. But anyway, the biggest smile. And she said, "Come on, that's your mama and your daddy. That's your mama and your dad." I ran down those steps and jumped to my daddy's arms. And, and I was crying because he never seen me cry like that unless I had gotten in trouble. And then they got to explaining while I'm cuddled up there, not letting him go, huddled up in his arm, that the car, they had car trouble. Uh, and so I don't remember what the problem was, a battery or this or that. I don't remember hearing. I don't remember listening. I was picked up, and my parents had remembered to come and get me, and I was so thankful for that. But they explained whatever car problems that they had, and of course they apologized to the babysitter. I remember them apologizing profusely that for coming in to pick me up late. And my daddy reached into his bag, because he always carried this black duffel bag, and he reached into his duffel bag and he gave her like 5 or 6 boxes of Twinkies and all of these different cupcakes. And this time he said share them with the house. See, all the other times they had been mine. And this time I heard him with his own lips say, share these with the other kid. That included that snot nosed boy. I was so mad about that. All right, y'all. Let me go fix my face up. I will see y'all in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe and just help your girl out. I need someone to talk to, and you're a good person, so why not talk to you? I'll see you next time, Desperados. And if you know what Desperados mean, then that means you don't know the song. It's by the Carpenters. Look it up. And it describes me, and maybe it describes you too. I'll see y'all in the next one.